This is a jar full of turtles, and if you look in the back, you'll see a very small, extremely unusual two-headed turtle. I've never seen one of these before. Today, we're going to crack this jar open and get a closer look. This is Odd Animal Specimens. We're pulling out our first turtle specimen, and this guy looks wonderful. It's so tiny. Really nicely formed shell, extremely long tail, tiny sharp feet with little claws. The condition is really fantastic. The thing that intrigues me most about this jar though are two things inside. One, that two-headed turtle, obviously very unusual. But two, if you look very closely at the bottom, you could see that some of the eggs have cracked open. There are turtle embryos loose in the bottom of this jar. If we can find those turtle embryos, we could potentially get a very rare and unusual look at what a turtle looks like before it hatches from its egg, right off the bat. As usual, what kind of turtle is this? To figure this out, we turn to the label on the jar. Chelydra serpentina. This is the Latin name for common snapping turtle. You'll notice that there's some information on the label, a bunch of numbers. All of these numbers are the numbers associated with the specimens in the jar. Let's count the numbers to determine how many turtles theoretically should be in this jar. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So 12 turtles is our goal for this jar. Let's pull them out and see how many are actually inside. We've already pulled out one, so this is number 2. It's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We'll spray to keep the specimens hydrated. You might notice that there's a few more things inside this jar. Now we're moving into the extra material, the material that maybe shouldn't be here in the first place. This is where things get a little more interesting. This is the head of a full-grown common snapping turtle. Quite obviously, this turtle was much larger than the rest. Everything here is very young, a hatchling that theoretically might have just came out of a shell. This might have been the parent, perhaps the mother whose shells are in the bottom of this jar. Hopefully the labels at the bottom can give us a little bit more information. Eggs laid June 30th, 1940. 2 smaller, August 14th. 2 larger, September 2nd. Wait a sec. Wait a sec. This label says there should be 4 eggs in here. There's definitely only 2. I don't know what's going on. What I do know is we've saved the 2 most interesting parts of this jar until the very end. The two-headed turtle and the turtle embryos. Oh man. Here we have our very tiny two-headed turtle hatchling. Two-headed turtle that just hatched from the egg. This guy is incredible. One of my favorite parts about it are look at the mouths. The mouths were preserved open. It looks like a two-headed screaming turtle. Two-headedness is referred to as polycephaly. It's surprisingly common in reptiles and amphibians. Here's some video of a two-headed snake that I was filming earlier this week. The question is, what is it caused by? Well, as it's developing, sometimes an egg will split in half in 2 and form twins. But sometimes it doesn't entirely split in half. When the egg starts splitting but doesn't completely split and develops into a full-grown hatchling, that's when you get a two-headed animal, like this two-headed turtle or a two-headed snake. Absolutely outstanding. Here's the thing that's insane, though, that we need to take a closer look at. These tiny, tiny, tiny turtle embryos in the very bottom of this jar. We're catching them at an interesting stage of development. You can notice that their heads are very large and their shells and bodies are a little bit smaller. I think what's most interesting about these embryos is looking at their tiny turtle shells. A common question that I necessarily didn't understand before seeing these was, when do turtles develop their shell? Looking at these embryos, we can see that they develop their shells inside the egg and they hatch fully shelled. Absolutely insane.